Hello, welcome to Some Notes on Style. I'm your host, Joseph. As the fall season is beginning to set in, I thought what better time than now to revisit a popular topic here on the channel around this time each year, which is traditional Ivy League style dressing. For anybody who's not seen my previous video, I got a link included up there. It's been moved to my secondary channel, Some More Notes on Style, due to its continuous image scroll leading to some copyright concerns from YouTube. This time around, I thought I'd take a little bit of a different approach and how we take a look at just how versatile some of the most iconic pieces of the Ivy League style wardrobe can be. By honing in on generally 6 primary items and say 6 secondary items, which more likely might be things you all already have in your closet, I'm going to be pulling together a sort of early fall Ivy League capsule collection to try to illustrate how with these 12 pieces, a wide variety of looks can be achieved for just about any type of situation you can imagine. Anything you'll need is right here in these pieces. So without further ado, let's dive into the 6 staple Ivy League style items every guy should have in his closet. Number 1, a stack of Oxford cloth shirts. Oxford cloth button-down shirts remain the timeless American staple item which work to define what really makes up a traditional Ivy League style. Their hard-wearing, rough and rugged, heavy-duty cotton material means more likely to be able to wear these things over and over again for the rest of your life. First introduced in 1900 by one of the oldest American brands around, Brooks Brothers, the functional button-down collar points nod towards sporting clothing, first being utilized by polo players to keep their collars from flapping up in the breeze. They've since gone on to define the very standards of traditional American sportswear, worn by old Hollywood stars, US presidents, European billionaires, and just about everybody in between. They can be worn with a necktie, they can be worn unbuttoned, they can be worn barely buttoned at all. These shirts remain a powerhouse of versatility. And if you want to get your closet packed for every situation that requires a button-down shirt, get 2 in white, 2 in blue, and 2 in blue and white stripe. Maybe throw in a pink or yellow in there for a bit of novelty. And there you have it, a week's worth of shirts. Simple as that. Number 2, a pair of khaki chino pants. First introduced in the mid-19th century by the British military, these utilitarian standards have gone on to become one of the foundational pieces of a post-World War II Army surplus wear by making its way into the closets of men all over the world looking for hard-wearing, rugged weekend pants, which never seem to go out of style. Young Ivy League students at Princeton University began throwing theirs on with blazers, canonizing the khaki chino pant in the language of American Ivy League prep style. And as it became popularized by such notable wearers as JFK, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando in the 1950s, around the same time that blue jeans were becoming popularized, khaki chinos helped to fill the gap in between a truly beat-em-up pair of old blue jeans and a more formal dress trouser. Similarly, the Oxford cloth shirt, a good pair of heavy-duty chinos will seemingly last forever. Their stiff cotton twill weave only softens over time with more and more washing. Look for a good pair in either a traditional deep British khaki colorway or a slightly lighter washed stone color for warmer months. Possibly throw in an army green color to round out the mix. Number 3, a pair of gray flannel trousers. Prior to the rise in popularity of denim and chinos in the 1950s, a previously common hard-wearing sporty trouser option was a trusty old pair of gray flannel trousers. During the Industrial Revolution, flannel became more and more popular as a hardy option for work and sport material because of its extreme durability. Because woolen suiting had not yet become as refined as it were to be throughout the 20th century, a hefty, thick, brushed, woven wool cloth provided a working man's garment that would last for years to come. However, that being said, as wool mills began to refine the cloth over time, it also became a popular choice for traditional cooler weather tailoring. So that by the early 20th century, a gray flannel suit became a ubiquitous first choice of a gentleman's work wardrobe. And one of the benefits of that gray flannel suit is it could easily be broken up into separates, and as ready-made sportswear became more accessible, utilizing gray flannel trousers as a steady staple provided a wide range of odd sport jackets to be paired with this hard-wearing, versatile pair of pants. So if you happen across a pair these days, they really can be truly just as versatile as a pair of jeans or chinos for that very reason. Try to find a nice light to medium gray, nothing that reads too dark like a charcoal, and you'll be amazed at the sheer variety of jackets which can be worn for truly dressy occasions. Not to mention, because of their inherent dressiness, similar to a navy blazer and jeans, they can be dressed up or paired down with more casual outerwear pieces, like a leather or suede jacket, a heavy-duty sweater for the winter, or a comfy wool overcoat, and some suede chukka boots for a beautiful high-low mix. Number 4, a navy blazer. Although there are varying accounts as to its origins, one of the most commonly accepted dates back to the early 19th century, when the navy jacket accented with gold buttons became adopted as the uniform of the English Royal Navy. Over time, their use became integrated into schools like Eton and Oxford, and eventually they became synonymous with early sporting clubs. So therefore, their induction into the language of college preparatory clothing naturally followed. Because of their formal dressy appearance, their refined wool material, and their deep, rich, dark coloring, the navy blazer retains a high degree of formality in any guy's closet. For almost any occasion, it can easily be worn in place of a full two-piece suit and still retain a high degree of formality. Because of their sporty origins and the fact that they are a one-and-done piece, they also lend themselves to a high degree of versatility. They can also be thrown on with almost any casual pant, any formal trouser, any old pair of jeans or chinos, and be equally appropriate for almost any situation. It can be worn with a tie, with a graphic t-shirt, a polo, or a turtleneck. The navy blazer should be the first sport coat every man should buy, because no matter what the occasion, if the gentleman requires a tailored jacket of any kind, the navy blazer easily completes the job. Number 5, a tweed blazer. If you're looking to round out your wardrobe with a second sport coat, a slightly more casual and rugged offering is the classic tweed sport coat. Tweed being a heavy homespun rough and tumble material which has been produced for many centuries in Scotland and Ireland, it first became adopted into more traditional British aristocracy in the 1830s in rural English estates. Because of its inherent durability, these jackets were often used for hunting and sport in harsh, cold English winters, and over time their material became more refined. They integrated more fluidly into the traditional English gentleman's closet. Tweed, of course, comes in a wide variety of patterns and colors and weaves, lending themselves to an incredibly personal signature piece in an old-world gentleman's wardrobe. Once again, these things can last forever and oftentimes look their best when they got a few rips, tears, or holes in them and have been worn to the point at which they wear like an old blanket. Tweed's beautiful, coarse, and rough texture is the perfect counterpoint to the dressier lines of a tailored jacket. So when it's worn formally with a sport shirt and necktie, it instantly provides a great deal of character in any formal look. And similar to the navy blazer, it often looks its best because it is quintessentially a tailored separate piece when it's worn in a mix-match style with old sweaters, odd trousers, sweatshirts, and beat-up old flannel shirts. Some of the hardest wearing tweed material you can find comes out of Scotland from the Harris Tweed Authority. Try to look for one secondhand in either a gray or brown herringbone weave, and you will have maximum versatility. However, if you're looking at something a little bit more character, you can find some great variations in houndstooth, donegal weaves, Glen plaids, or gun check patterns. Truly unique jackets might have very interesting secondary colors or overchecks, which can also help to inform what colors to pair them with. Number 6, a striped rep tie or a navy silk knit tie. Another English connection. The striped rep tie originated in the 19th century in the British military, where individual units and clubs adopted their own combinations of colors and stripe arrangements as signifying identifiers. Also known as regimental striped ties, over time the same motifs began to work their way into traditional school and social clubs, eventually working their way across the Atlantic into the schools of the United States in the 1920s. With one small distinction of the stripes changing direction from the English left to right to the American right to left direction. Technically, almost every stripe combination available in some way or another can be tied back to its originating club, so similar to wearing an old Army surplus jacket with the military signifier still attached, it's a good idea to keep an eye out over your shoulder in the event you come across someone who may very well still be a member of said club or organization. But for the most part, like other items on this list, these ties have become so integrated into our social norms that their origins have long since disappeared. And although there are a wide variety of variations of colors and patterns, for my money, two of the most versatile colorways you can own come in the form of the green, navy, and gold Oxford Hibernian stripe colorway or the maroon, navy, and gold University of Wales stripe colorway. Although this version, which I have, seems to actually be a maroon, green, and gold color. But either way, settling on a combination of a slightly warmer and a slightly cooler color version of the two rep stripes can be a great way of covering a lot of ground depending on what you're pairing it with. Incorporating a navy into the ground helps with its versatility, and minimizing the highlight color, in this case the yellow gold, to the finest stripe, you get a tie which sits in quite nicely without jumping too far away from the shirt and jacket. Then what may be technically a 7th item, but can easily be interchanged in place of a rep tie, an equally if not more so versatile option, and my personal favorite, is a navy silk knit tie. First popularized in the 1920s and 30s as a working class alternative, the navy knit tie became very popular again in the 50s and 60s, becoming a staple of the mid-century modern styling. Purists will say that a black silk knit tie is the most versatile. However, personally I found a navy a little bit easier to wear when your wardrobe has a blend of warmer and cooler colors. The navy silk knit tie also works incredibly well with that navy blazer from earlier, and also dark enough to be worn with odd shirts and a tweed jacket. So if you only got enough money to buy one necktie, I find the navy silk knit to be the most appropriate for any occasion. Its dark colorway is epitome of timeless formality, its nubby texture maintains a playful degree of casualness, and it will easily pair with any one of those Oxford shirts I mentioned before. Try to find one in a good 2 3/4 or 3.5 inch width. Just try to make sure it doesn't run too skinny, and you got a timeless piece that will never do you wrong. So those are generally the 6 main Ivy League staple pieces. Like I said, let's pepper in a few secondary pieces, which are more than likely items you probably already have in your closet. Then we'll go into looking at a handful of fits and how these things can be mixed and matched. So the 6 remaining pieces are a sturdy pair of well-fitted blue jeans in either a medium or a dark wash, a stack of white cotton t-shirts, a heather gray cotton poly blend sweatshirt, a braided brown leather belt, a pair of white cotton canvas sneakers, a pair of dark brown suede penny loafers, and okay, a 7th piece, some kind of fun ball cap. So with these 12, maybe 13 pieces, you got a wide variety of items that now we'll take a look at how you can mix and match them with ease for a wide variety of looks that will be classic and never go out of style. Okay, first look at the chinos. A pair of khaki cotton chinos with a white Oxford cloth shirt and those chocolate brown penny loafers. You got a beautifully simple and clean classic outfit. It'll be flattering on almost any guy for a look that's both dressy and casual. Get a nice sharp fit on that Oxford shirt up top. Cut the sleeves, try to find a pair of chinos that have a slightly higher rise and a wider leg, and you got a really beautifully proportioned look between a fitted shirt and a slightly more casual boxy fit pair of pants. Cut those hems at the ankle once or twice, and you get a little bit of an interesting proportion play. It also helps to kick out the silhouette of the leg into a more tubular, sturdier shape. Then next up, take that same foundation, don't change a thing, just throw on a classic silk regimental striped tie and the navy blazer, then this look goes from day to night in a pinch. Now, of course, that blazer can be worn with the same shirt, open collar, and it does a great job at framing out the lightness of that Oxford shirt and chinos. Swap out the dark brown penny loafers for some white cotton canvas sneakers. Now you got a sporty weekend version of the same foundation. So really, with this first look alone, I'd like to just show the versatility. You can wear the same top and bottom by simply either wearing it by itself, throwing on a blazer or a necktie, and you got a huge range of casual and formal in the same look. Okay, next option, lose the blazer entirely, swap out the white Oxford cloth for a soft washed blue Oxford shirt. This time around, I paired it with the blue and green rep tie and some white canvas sneakers down below. Cuff up those sleeves just a touch, and here you got a nice soft duty college professor kind of look. You've gone through the effort of wearing a tie, so this look can be worn in a semi-professional setting, but with a bit of an ironic twist. You don't have a full suit and tie, so it's got a little more ease to it. I think that helps a little further by pairing the white canvas sneakers, so again, you got that little dose of sporty style down below, keeping a classic and neutral color story. It's got that kind of timeless simplicity of JFK Jr. riding his bike around the sidewalks of Soho, or Robert Redford on the campaign trail in 1972's The Candidate. This kind of look strikes a perfect balance of subtle, traditional formality and casual nonchalance. Or essentially the same trick this time around, keep those chinos and sneakers on, this time swap out the Oxford cloth button down for a more weekend appropriate classic white crewneck t-shirt, accessorize it with a favorite ball cap. Once again, the formulous outfit is nearly identical, but you can see in an instant the ease injected into this look by throwing on that t-shirt under your blazer. Look for a dressier, high quality, thicker cotton fitted crewneck t-shirt rather than your typical Fruit of the Loom number, and this kind of look can still retain a high degree of timeless formality. The clean white canvas sneakers and the dark colored ball cap round out the look with some sporty accessorizing, but still keep the palette nice and timeless. It may not seem like much on a mannequin, but believe me, an outfit like this allows the majority of the attention to be on your glowing personality. Or if you're just lounging around the house or hanging out doing some yard work, lose a blazer entirely, wear the t-shirt and chinos and your clean white kicks. This is a great mid-century utilitarian kind of vibe. Nothing beats the power of a sharp, well-fitted white tee. It's the simplicity of this kind of look that really exudes a sense of ease and timelessness. The next look, the temperatures start to dip a little bit and the fall season continues, but you're not quite into sweater territory just yet. This is where the gray cotton sweatshirt really comes in a pinch. Lay your sweatshirt over your clean, rugged Oxford shirt in white for a little touch of Paul Newman by the Sea. Because this outfit is once again firmly rooted in the combinations of neutrals, this kind of look works very well with a wide variety of skin tones and colorings. Once again, it's a timeless look. It nods towards classic athletic styling with a sweatshirt and the canvas sneakers without going into the full-on spandex gym clothes territory. It's clean and sharp. I think something that really helps here once again is paying close attention to the fit of a nice trim-fitting Oxford shirt and a slim-fitting sweatshirt against a fuller or baggier pair of cotton chinos down below, so the fit does much of the heavy lifting and making this outfit universally appealing. Now for the next look, I'd like to use as an example of the subtle power of switching out one element of a look and getting a completely different outcome. Obviously the foundation of this look is the blue Oxford cloth shirt, the khaki chinos, and the blue and green regimental necktie we've seen worn by itself and just as easily with a navy blazer for dressier situations. However, this time around, simply by switching out the blazer for a tweed jacket, you can see a more rustic edge that comes from this outfit into a more relaxed and casual territory. Therefore, I swapped out the suede penny loafers, the clean canvas sneakers, graphic ball cap, and suddenly the shirt dives into a more playful, eclectic territory. This is the kind of look you'd easily see in an old Drake's lookbook or Ralph Lauren ad campaign. It makes for a solid classic foundational wardrobe look, which is always flattering. And if you're feeling a little extra spicy, the neutrality of this look also lends itself well to throwing in some fun hits of color. Maybe swap out that navy ball cap for a cherry red or a Kelly green, or throw on a bold, graphic, colorful sweater over your shoulders, tied around the waist, in yellow, purple, or orange, and suddenly all these eclectic wardrobe basics start to really make a statement. And for one more weekend variation, here we got a look we've seen before, just the slightest of changes this time around. We got the same khaki chinos and white canvas sneakers, that soft, rugged white Oxford shirt from before, this time around layered over a crisp white t-shirt. An outfit like this really speaks to the power of classic white shirt in that it can be styled in more ways than you can imagine. Simply by layering it over a monochromatic white t-shirt, you can wear it open, button one or two buttons, tuck it in, leave it tucked out, and right there you got 4 different ways of wearing essentially the exact same items. Once again, it's the simplicity of something like this. It's all in the styling. Undo those buttons on your collar, let that flap in the breeze. Just try casually cuffing up the sleeves once or twice to the wrists, do a little side tuck at the 3/4 mark on your waistline, get a little shape in there, or leave your sleeves down and cuff up those chinos once or twice, get a little more shape in the legs. It's an outfit like this that's sometimes the most successful because there's not too many elements to busy up the final look. It's simple, iconic, casual, classic ease that comes out with a look like this. It allows your personality to shine through and allows the way in which you wear your clothes to be the primary element of defining your style. Not to mention to be comfortable as hell for almost anything you gotta do. Then on to the next look, we switched out the chinos for more dressy wool flannel trousers, and instantly you can see how the sharper line of a pair of fitted tailored trousers ups the formality of anything it's paired with. So for this first look, because that is the formal element in this kind of look, we can simplify it down for a clean and modern look by tucking in a well-pressed white Oxford cloth button-down shirt and play off the formality of these elements by bringing in those white canvas sneakers and a ball cap. This is where the flannels are remarkably versatile when you start to dabble into their mix and match nature by throwing in other sportier elements and making the flannel be the dressiest piece in the look. They have the next option just as easily. You can take that same base, throw on that navy blazer, and suddenly you're more business appropriate than ever before. This time around, maintaining the sneakers and a ball cap help to really pare down the navy blazer and gray flannels into a classic framing device that prevents you from being too stiff or straight-laced. Of course, you could just easily lose the ball cap and put on some nice suede penny loafers. You'll still look great, but try to lean into the playfulness against this staple look, and these pieces will feel a little more modern. But if the situation calls for it, you really must go to the most formal of formal territories. This is where the gray flannels paired with the navy blazer can really do some talking. Because if you're in a semi-formal situation in a room full of boring suits, or everybody else has some weird slick tech bro vest kind of vibe, it's the classic understated simplicity of this look, which really helps to bridge the gap between casual and formal, and ultimately it's the most flattering thing you could possibly pull together. Bring in that sharp navy silk knit tie, it brings a clean neutrality, allowing the gold button navy blazer to feel much more modern. Adding in subtle depth into the pairing, we got that blue and white striped Oxford shirt down below, of course the brown suede penny loafers and white pocket square at the chest, and suddenly all these elements pulled together into an Ian Fleming James Bond approved formal look, which exudes just the right amount of dress neutrality and personal character at the same time. And for one notch down the dressy scale, a look swapped out that navy silk net tie with the red and green regimental and that navy blazer for a tweed jacket, and suddenly you got a lot more of an autumny East Coast Ivy League dude kind of vibe here. All that gorgeous heathering in the flannels now becomes a lot more prominent when it's paired against the subtle fleck color of the brown and tan and the herringbone tweed, leading the eye toward the subtlety of pairing a bold wide stripe against the finer stripe of the Oxford shirt down below. Once again, for as simple as the overall outcome of this outfit seems, the closer you get, you actually realize there's quite a bit going on with all the material texture play, the patterns and the colors, and sticking with the warmer regimental stripe against the brown tweed, you got a degree of tonality which helps to calm the palette down. Of course, in general, you got a jacket and tie combo here, so there is a degree of inherent formality, but because of the casual materials at play, there's a great deal of rugged personality in this kind of look, as opposed to the cleanliness of the sharp navy blazer from before. And for the next two looks here, we got some very modern ways of wearing your flannels and keeping them looking trim, sharp, and minimal. In this first instance, I actually pulled in that gray crewneck sweatshirt, once again, the tonal foundation. And because of the inherent athletic nature of the sweatshirt, we can pull in the crisp cotton canvas sneakers and athletic navy blazer, and suddenly you got a look which has the lines of something very minimalist and modern, yet all the elements in their origins contain within them a great deal of sporting athleticism. And for me, it's the gray on gray foundation which really helps the look feeling clean and sharp, and the darkness of the navy blazer framing out the look quite nicely. And for another variation, subtle swaps, this time around switching out the sneakers for the dressy brown suede penny loafers and a gray sweatshirt for a clean and crisp navy cotton crewneck t-shirt. Suddenly the navy blazer feels at its most modern. The formality and edginess in this kind of styling really pulls something as traditional as a pair of gray flannels and gold button navy blazer into a very European looking level of finish. A look this minimal and polished would feel right at home in the swankiest of trendy night spots, pulling up in a fine European convertible. This is the kind of look of a man who is comfortable pushing the boundaries of style while still feeling safely traditional by updating the most classic of closet staples with ease. It's a look like this for me really proves that modernity can evolve out of tradition by knowing how to incorporate the classics into something which feels completely new at the same time. And finally, the last set of looks we enter the most casual bottoms, a pair of washed out old denim blue jeans. Starting out with a comfortable and simple weekend staple, the nice versatility of a pair of mid-wash blue jeans that you can pair it just as easily with that mid-blue Oxford shirt and some sneakers. Here you see the tonality and cleanliness of the style. It really makes it seem like such a no-brainer. Going beltless helps to keep everything nice and simple. The weight and stiffness of the heavy Oxford cloth accents the roughness of the blue denim quite well for the ultimate in American ruggedness. Looking for a pair of nicely washed and faded blue jeans provides a lot of visual interest in the depths and the faded blue indigo color. This is another one of those may not look like much in the mannequin outfits, but once you wear it, you really exude a lot of character here. And speaking of character, as temperatures start to chill out a little bit, why not double down on the rough and rugged territory, this time around throwing in that scratchy tweed jacket up top for a little bit extra warmth. Once again, it's the ruggedness and the roughness of these materials that really help to pull them all together. These pieces feel like they were made to be worn together, and therefore really should be. It's the inherent nature of these materials and the way they'll all wear in beautifully over time and shape and mold themselves to the lines of your body. It really makes these truly personal and unique items in your closet you can wear until your dying day, and they will only look better over time. Next, essentially the exact same outfit, this time swapping out the tweed for the navy blazer. That's the beauty once again of the blue Oxford and the mid-wash blue jean combo. It's a perfect foundation for just about any sport coat you pair it with. Identical tricks as before, the white canvas sneakers, graphic ball cap. It's a timeless, universal, classic American look that will never go out of style. Then next up, just as easy, essentially the exact same formula. This thing can really be the foundation of a solid uniform style of dressing. It's very editorial, it's very classic. This time around, swapping out the Oxford cloth shirt for a crisp white crewneck t-shirt, jeans, t-shirt, sneakers. It's so easy, you barely even have to think about it. But notice this instance, the gold button navy blazer really levels up the outfit, which would otherwise be so casual it's hardly even worth mentioning. This time around, the navy blazer really pulls it all together by framing out the look into something that's a little more notable. Then one more variation from before, the white Oxford cloth button down, the gray sweatshirt. This time around with blue jeans, gives a little more casual vibe than it did with the chinos. A little less sporty, a little less athletic, but no less classic. And similar to the blue Oxford and blue jeans, this look provides an excellent foundation for any blazer or sport coat you're going to put over it. The heathered quality of the sweatshirt lends itself beautifully to the textured quality found in the tweed jacket. Got the neutrals of gray and brown working together here. It's just a perfect fall look for strolling around a tree-lined street with falling leaves all around. It's got a very 1970s Woody Allen or Billy Crystal and Harry Met Sally kind of vibe that never really goes out of style. And finally, the last iteration of a tweed jacket and jeans. This time around, I brought in that silk knit tie once again. A perfect pairing against tweed jacket. Mixed up the Oxford shirt for the blue and white stripe pairing in this foundation. The through line of the mid blue in the jeans and the shirt and the necktie and the ball cap rounds out that pal a little bit further. Swapped out the sneakers for the brown suede penny loafers. Here you got a very off-duty 1970s newspaper editor kind of look. These simple accessories really punch a look up and down. Obviously wearing a shirt and tie here, where with the ball cap dresses it down, where with suede penny loafers dresses it back up again. You got a tweed jacket instead of a navy blazer, so that dresses it back down a little bit, more evenly with the blue jeans. And overall, once again, you got this perfect kind of neutral baseline outfit that really allows you to be the feature of the show, rather than overpower the wearer with too much going on. Okay, so there you have it. With these 6, possibly 12 odd pieces, you got roughly 23, 24 looks going on here, and I'd even argue you'd probably pull out a few more by the time you mix and match all your Oxfords and ties and jackets and pants, etc., but you get the general idea. These are very editorial looks. These are the kind of things you would see whoever today's movie star or celebrity of the moment is, being photographed in the pages of Vanity Fair or GQ in a feature spread, because these are the kind of looks that really allow the wearer to be the main focal point. They're classic and iconic to the point at which they almost fade away into the background, but ultimately still maintain a look of being pulled together and a sharp, clean presentation. Not to mention these are incredibly iconic American looks, and having all the pieces rooted in English heritage and American Ivy League heritage, it's a very old money, established, well-mannered, well-learned kind of influence. So these pieces assert you are well aware of what you're doing, and you're very informed about the foundations of your wardrobe. I think these lessons can be learned with some of these looks and be forever universal and timeless. So all that said, it's gonna wrap us up this week, guys. As always, a special thanks to my patrons for helping support the channel and keep these videos coming. If you'd be interested in becoming a patron yourself, you can become a distinguished gentleman and you will receive the monthly Some Notes on Style notebook where I fill the pages of all sorts of inspirational imagery and tear sheets corresponding to each episode I present here on YouTube. You can head on over to the link in the description down below to sign up. Your help is very much appreciated, and for those of you who have done so already, as always, I thank you greatly. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me that thumbs up. If you're enjoying the channel, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Once again, the channel is Some Notes on Style. I'm your host, Joseph. See you again next time, guys. Bye.